I think I tried learning JavaScript 4 different times, and every time I quit for the exact same reason. I always started excited. I'd watch tutorials, I'd follow along perfectly, and I was sure I was making progress. But then I would try to build something on my own and realize I had no idea what I was doing. So guess what I ended up doing? Look for another course, another tutorial, another roadmap, another technology, a totally different direction. Every time I was convinced that this time things will finally click. And looking back, the thing that kept me stuck wasn't programming. It was the way I was learning programming. And once I changed that simple thing, everything started changing. And it's still a rule I follow today with every new thing I try to learn. So in this video, I want to share that lesson with you, because if you're feeling stuck right now, there's a very good chance you're making the exact same mistake I made for years. One thing I don't think I've talked about much on my channel is how many times I almost gave up on programming when I was starting out. Every time, the same thing happened. I started excited, learned some basics, things would seem to make sense, and then I would hit a concept that felt difficult, or I would try building something on my own, and suddenly I would feel completely lost. And instead of pushing through it, I would start questioning everything. Maybe JavaScript is not for me, maybe I'm wasting my time, maybe I should focus on something easier, maybe I should just stick to WordPress. WordPress, by the way, is a free software that lets you build and manage websites without needing to know how to code. And to be clear, WordPress wasn't a bad thing. It helped me earn money and taught me some useful skills. But deep down, I knew it wasn't what I really wanted. I wanted to build applications. I really wanted to understand how things worked. I wanted to create my own ideas. The problem was that every time things got uncomfortable, I went looking for a different path. And for a long time, I really thought that was helping me. I was still watching videos, reading articles, researching what I should learn next. But looking back, I think I was spending way more time searching for the perfect path than actually walking one. And I think a lot of people get stuck right there. And not because they're lazy or they're feeling that they're not smart enough, but because every time progress starts feeling a little bit difficult, they start wondering if they're on the wrong path. I know I did. I used to watch other developers online and thinking they were just naturally good at this. Like somehow they understood everything way faster than I did. In the meantime, I was struggling with things that seemed way too basic. And because of that, I kept looking for answers in new technologies, new courses, and new tutorials, when the thing I actually needed was something completely different. I remember one of the first small projects I tried building entirely on myself was a tip calculator. Nothing impressive. You just enter a build amount, choose a tip percentage, click a button, and it tells you how much tip to leave on the table. That's it. And honestly, it should have been simple. At least, that's what I thought. But the moment I stopped following a tutorial and started building it myself, I realized how many things I didn't actually understand. How do I get the value from the input? Why is this number coming back as text? Why does the result have 15 decimal places? How do I round this properly? And suddenly I was Googling things I thought I should already know. At the time, it felt really frustrating. I remember thinking, if I'm struggling with a tip calculator, how am I even going to build something real one day? But looking back, that little project taught me more than weeks of tutorials ever did. Because for the first time, I wasn't just copying someone else's decisions, I had to make my own decisions. I had to think, I had to make mistakes, and most importantly, I had to figure things out by myself. And that's exactly when I started noticing something. When you're following a tutorial, it's very easy to feel productive. Everything makes sense. Of course it does, because the instructor already knows what the next step is. The difficult decisions have already been made for you. But when you're building something yourself, even something tiny, all of your knowledge gaps suddenly become visible. And that, my friend, is uncomfortable. But it's also where learning starts, because coding isn't just about understanding concepts, it's about learning how to use them when nobody's telling you what to do next. And when I look back at all of this now, I think the biggest mistake I was making wasn't choosing the wrong language or choosing the wrong course. The mistake was that I kept learning things without giving myself enough time to actually use them. I'd learn something new, feel excited about it, and then move on before my brain had time to digest it. And over the years, I've realized there's one simple rule that has helped me more than almost anything else. Don't move on from something you've learned until you've actually used it. That's it. Simple. If you learn something, use it. It doesn't matter whether it's JavaScript, React, Python, AI, or anything else. Don't leave it sitting in your head. Give it a job to do. Because there's a huge difference between recognizing a concept and being able to use it. One gives you confidence while you're watching, the other gives you confidence while you're building. And only one of those actually helps you become a better developer. Guess which one that is? Nobody gets good at programming by understanding programming. They get good at programming by programming. And by the way, this has nothing to do with programming. It's how people learn almost everything in life. I know you might think you're stuck because you need more information, but most probably you don't need more information. What you do need is more meaningful practice. So I don't think you need another tutorial. I think you need a reason to use what you've already learned. If you're wondering what this looks like in practice, let's say you're learning JavaScript. Don't spend weeks trying to memorize everything. Learn a concept, then use it. Build a tiny calculator, a to-do list, a guessing game, anything really. The project itself doesn't matter. The practice does. Learn something, use it, break it, fix it, and then continue. Because that's how knowledge slowly turns into skill. And no, this didn't suddenly turn me into an amazing developer overnight. I still got stuck. I still Googled things constantly. I still had days where I feel completely lost. And to be honest, I still do all these things. But something started changing back then. I became less overwhelmed because instead of worrying about 10 different technologies, I was focused on using the one I had already chosen, JavaScript. I became more confident, not because I knew everything, but because I was finally proving to myself that I could build things. And maybe most importantly, I stopped comparing myself to other people so much. Because when you're focused on your own projects, you're no longer asking, what is everyone else doing? Instead, you're asking, what can I improve today? And that's a much better question, believe me. You can't really feel progress when it's happening. Most of the time, it just looks like showing up, solving one small problem, and repeating that process again and again and again. But months later, you realize you're doing things that used to feel impossible. And that's when you understand that the process was working all along. So if I could go back and sit next to the version of myself that was struggling with JavaScript for the 4th time, the version of me that kept wondering whether he was learning the right thing or not, the version that thought everyone else somehow had this figured out, I would most probably tell him something very simple. Stop searching for the perfect thing to learn and pick a direction. Use what you're learning and give yourself enough time for the practice to compound. Because looking back, I wasn't one course away from becoming a better developer. I simply needed to spend less time searching and more time doing. And honestly, I think a lot of people watching this video right now are probably in that position right now. You don't need to know everything. You don't need the perfect roadmap. You don't need to master every language. You just need to stop restarting and stick to something until you get good at it. So go in the comments below and tell me what's the one thing you're trying to learn right now. Maybe it's JavaScript, maybe it's Python, maybe it's React, maybe it's AI, or something completely different. Let me know in the comments below. And if you're feeling overwhelmed by everything you could be learning right now, I also put together a free roadmap PDF that shows the path I would personally follow if I were starting today. You can grab it using the link in the description, and while you're there, hit that like and that subscribe button. It really means a lot to me. Thanks for watching, you legends. I'm Pete, and I'll see you on the next one.